Pacific vibes, we bring the heat. AI agents can't be beat. AI agents hour, let's go. News and guests, the big show. Solving problems, we do it live. Stay informed, it's a vibe. Building agents that work for you. Making moves, we see it through. Every week, a brand new show. Tag along and watch your knowledge grow. AI agents hour, let's go. News and guests, the big show. Answering questions, we arrive. Every Monday, come alive. We want reviews, but only if it's a 5. We share the drama, we got the drive. Stay in the loop, it's the place to be. Shane and I'll be setting you free. Tune in Mondays, make your day. From the news to the problem solved. AI world, get involved.
Every week in AI, something insane happens.
And there's so much drama. Every Monday, we break it down live.
We do the news, we bring on guests building in the space.
And we go deep into the stuff that actually matters.
Agents Hour, every Monday, noon Pacific.
Follow. Don't miss it. Peace.
This is Agents Hour with Shane Thomas and Abby Iyer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Agents Hour. We're here. It's not Monday, it's Wednesday, but we're here and we're going to do the news today. I'm Shane. I'm one of the co-founders of Mastra. I'm here with Abby. What's up, dude?
What up?
And most of you probably know, he's also one of the co-founders of Mastra. And we appreciate you tuning in if you're tuning in live. If you are not tuning in live and you're watching after the fact on either YouTube or X or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you. And give us that 5-star review while you're there. Like, subscribe, do all the things. And we also, we have this is a live show. We have some messages from Carlos. What's up, Carlos?
Hey, Carlos.
Carlos is organizing a hackathon, and you should go to the mastra.ai/contact page, drop in a note, and we will reach out to you and talk about it. We would love to participate or help out however we can. Sebastian's here as well. What's up, Sebastian? Good to see you.
Howdy, Sebastian.
It's not quite Monday, but Wednesday, sure, it works. We're a little earlier than normal.
Wednesday.
Yeah, we're a little earlier than normal because, Abby, you're on the East Coast today.
Yeah, I feel like this world tour has not stopped. Today I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Grayson from our team is coming within the hour. So we have a big meeting tomorrow with a big person. So excited about that.
And you might be wondering, well, why weren't we doing the show on the normal time? Well, if you're in the US, it was a Memorial Day on Monday, and then yesterday we were playing catch up, so we decided we'll ship the show on Wednesday. So better late than never. But we do want to share, for those of you that maybe don't care, we did some stuff. We touched grass.
We did.
So here's one picture. I think this is Lake Sylvan in the Black Hills of South Dakota. We also have, there's Abby and myself in front of Mount Rushmore. That was cool.
That was really fun.
Don't wait, there's the close-up for those of you. I think, Abby, your impressions were it wasn't quite as big as you expected.
Exactly.
So, I don't know, still worth going, but, maybe you didn't quite live up to the expectations. That's okay. And yeah, there's us. We were on a hike. There's a little waterfall. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
We had some fun.
We also did some cowboy stuff. So I'm going to wear this for the rest of the show. Picked this up in South Dakota when we went to a place called Deadwood. Got my cowboy on now. So my hat's all messed up, but
Yeah. Oh, so anyways, obviously we're here, we're talking AI, but it is nice to, take a step away from the loops every once in a while, step away from Claude Code, Mastra Code, Codex, whatever you're running, step away from shipping, trying to keep up with all the news. So I feel like actually took a couple days for us to catch up because we weren't quite as active over the weekend as we normally were. I mean, we still, of course, were paying attention, but maybe not quite as much as we were used to.
there are bigger things going on in South Dakota than AI. That's what we learned.
Yeah. AI is not, most people don't really care around
Yeah.
here.
I also learned that I hate turkeys. That's one revelation. There are all these wild turkeys out there. Every time I looked at them, it just made me so angry. Like, get off my lawn, turkey.
And also, we also realized, and, a lot of us have known this if you're in the area, but we saw a buffalo. It's not actually a buffalo. It's a bison, an American bison, but everyone calls it a buffalo. And it was literally, I could have like tossed, like, it was like 8 feet from our vehicle. We just stopped and just stared at us.
Yeah.
So wild bison just in the state park there. So that was pretty cool too.
We actually touched grass. We didn't go to Dolores Park. We went to the Black Hills National Forest.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. All right. Well, better late than never. What do you say? Should we get into the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right. Like always, there's a lot of news. There's a lot of drama. We're going to cover it all. Here's a little preview of some of the things we're going to be talking about today. If you're watching this live, give us your comments as we go through. We like to hear that. So this one we're calling the Unlikely AI Cast because first, I saw this over the weekend. The Pope says the church and Anthropic will work together to find the way for humanity in this time of artificial intelligence. And there's, of course, got, fact check. The Pope never endorsed Anthropic, but I think the fact that, just even mentioning it, even that it's on the Pope's radar is interesting, right? It's expanding beyond the tech borders maybe a bit. I did see someone have a joke post that said, especially after other announcements that we're going to have later, that like God joins Anthropic as member of technical staff or something, so like people are just like Anthropic is on a tear. They're on everyone's radar, which is just interesting.
I like how that's like the new joke too. Like Jesus has joined Anthropic as a member of technical staff.
And who's Kyle Kuzma? For those that don't know,
this one is actually weirder than the Pope, to be honest. But Kyle Kuzma is a basketball player. He plays for the Wizards now. He used to play on the Lakers when we won a championship in 2020. And since his basketball career is not going so well, let's just say, he's become an investor. And he's specifically investing in AI, specifically defense tech. And so he posted this. He's probably going to go on TBPN, at least that's what he's planning. And he had a direct shout to Sam Altman on, trying to bring back American dynamism. And I saw some other posts that he's making angel investments. He's trying to get into like the investing world. A lot of celebrities do this, right? Once they get some money. Like Jake Paul invested in Modal, for example. Like that is interesting. And then, Shaq invested in Replit, right? Like these are like these notable figures, let's say, that are investing in AI companies. So yeah, Kyle Kuzma is part of it now. You should use Mastra, Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle, come on. Yeah, come on the show, Kyle. You're invited. So Andre Karpathy said, personal update. I've joined Anthropic. I think the next few years at the frontier of LLMs will be especially formative. I'm very excited to join the team here and get back to R&D. I remain deeply passionate about education and plan to resume my work on it in time. This post got 27.1 million views.
Amazing. I don't know how I
There's-
feel about it though.
I think what we're seeing is it's no longer just if you have the best model. It's also like there's a team, there's hype, there's, of course, Karpathy's going to do amazing work. He's obviously super talented, but he's also a big name as well. So I think you get both, right? You get someone who actually can solve real problems, and you get to basically show to the world that you have the smartest, some of the smartest people and well-known people in the space working for you.
Should we show the office clip?
Pull
me
it
to
up.
pull it up?
We should show it.
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. This goes really well with this news article, by the way. So let me pull this up.
And for reference, there was a tweet that went out where someone used, I think it was Seed Dance, but some of the video tools that are possible, and remade kind of an office clip on, this concept.
All right, I'll play it. It's only like a minute or so we can go through it.
All right, everyone. I'd like you to meet somebody. This is Andrej Karpathy, Stanford PhD, co-founder of OpenAI. Ran Tesla Autopilot, meaning he literally taught cars to see. And the man who coined the term vibe coding.
I heard he's earning 6 figures per hour. I am happy for him. Like, really happy.
Also, he teaches people how to build AI on YouTube. Millions of views. Although statistically, I think most people watched the first 10 minutes and said, yeah, I'm not building that.
Well, I wrote an article that killed an entire language. I do not see what is special about him.
The pre-training opportunity was very easy.
He chose us. He recently left OpenAI, then Tesla, then OpenAI again, then started Eureka Labs. But he did not bring any of that into work. It did not affect his performance whatsoever.
Just to clarify for the room, Andrej will be on my pre-training team, focused on using Claude to accelerate.
Dario. I'm introducing him. You'll get your moment.
You don't work here.
Honestly, very welcoming people here. Michael bought donuts for us. Dario spent 6 hours explaining alignment scaling laws. Nick seemed unusually interested in my YouTube income. Great team, excited to work.
And the ending is pretty good too. We'll let it play.
Yeah, we'll let it play. Yeah. So, banger. That was funny.
So
if
good.
you're an Office fan, it was, it felt like a new version of fan art, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Because it did feel, it felt kind of Office-y. You could still tell, obviously, there were parts that are fake, but it was surprising how well done it was.
Yeah, and like it really fit into office humor, like the looks at the camera and everything. So I think Siddhartha or whatever generated that. Good job.
Yeah, nice work. So Greg Brockman had a tweet, said the model alone is no longer the product. So let's do our version. Let's do our version of this. I'll share my screen here. Give me a second. The model alone is no longer the product. What does this actually mean? I think it means a lot of things.
Yeah.
But curious your take.
I think we might have the same opinion here, but the FUD in me saying that maybe models are going to hit a plateau, or they already are, and it's everything else that goes alongside the model that becomes more important. So maybe waiting for the next model is not wise anymore. That's one interpretation.
Yeah, I think it's it's an argument for the framework, the harness, the tools around the model, the platform around the model. It's how you're going to eke out the performance that you actually, you're going to get the best out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think you might be right though. I did say that before, that I thought we were hitting a wall, and then there were some interesting things that came out. So maybe I'll be wrong again, but I do think that we are, the performance increases are slowing a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? We haven't seen since, and I know it doesn't seem like that long ago at this point, but November, that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I don't think things have changed significantly since November, which is a long time in AI time. 6
Yeah.
months without a huge leap. And I guess, when did 5.5 come out?
Couple
Yeah.
months later.
Yeah, a couple months
Mhm.
later. Yeah. So, that was a leap, but I also think 5.5 was better than 4.5, but not such a huge jump.
Yeah. And you can see in the market what everybody's doing, right? We have managed agents from every model lab. We have coding agents from every model lab. And, Gemini is using anti-gravity, which we'll talk about, Codex from OpenAI, Claude from Anthropic. They all have managed agents products. And maybe they'll all have agent runtimes and everything like that. These are all the things that are around the model.
And Carlos says the same model on different harnesses are performing differently. Exactly.
Yep.
So the harness does matter.
If model development stopped for whatever reason today, there's still so much progress to be made, right? Like, so it's not like the end is near or anything. There's
Yeah.
just so much we could build still.
In some ways, for those that are building, there's a benefits for it slowing down, because you can, the foundation is less shaky, so you know what's possible.
Yeah.
Where before it felt like you could maybe build ahead of the models and eventually the models would catch up, but maybe not. You don't know.
Yeah.
And if it does slow down, that doesn't mean the end is near. It just means that now we know the types of things we can actually accomplish. So let's go do it. All right, let's get into the other stuff. Some news from OpenAI. Sam Altman said, well, I guess first, this was an announcement from Tyler at YC, a mic drop moment at Y Combinator tonight. Sam Altman just offered $2 million in OpenAI tokens to every YC startup in the current batch in exchange for equity. I think it was like 2%. I don't know the exact details. And then Sam Altman responded, I am excited to see what will happen when token maxing startups, both for how they work internally and the products they can build. So that's pretty wild. Like, we were in YC, we didn't get this deal. I don't know if we would have taken it. I don't know what the deal terms were. If it's use it whenever you want in your lifetime, that's different than a lot of YC deals are like, you got to use it in a certain time frame. For equity, I don't imagine that would. I'm assuming it's, you have a lifetime. Here's 2 million in tokens to use whenever. That's one way to get the tech startups using your product.
Yeah, that's the one way the Game of Thrones can move in your favor, for sure. I mean, they gave us credits too, but it wasn't $2 million. And honestly, we got the credits for free, but it was like $30K. So
Yeah.
$30K, which is a lot, actually.
Yeah, which is
I
great.
think we burned it in a year, but we were doing some stupid stuff with it. So
yeah, I mean, I don't even know. $2 million in tokens is quite a bit.
quite a bit. I don't think we would have taken this deal though.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I think a lot of people should.
Yeah.
I do think that if you're in YC, there is a good chance it would actually make sense for you all, depending on what you're doing, especially if you are building something where your end users are going to use a lot of tokens.
Yeah.
I could see it making a lot of sense. It can get you very far. Let's talk about auth.md, an open protocol for agents. So Michael Greenwich from WorkOS, he was on the show a couple weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
Today, WorkOS is launching auth.md, an open protocol for agents to register for services on the web. We're partnering with Cloudflare and Firecrawl as some of the first providers. I also saw Resend was a provider. We got approval. We're not a provider yet, but we will be. What do you think of this?
I think I think this is a great idea. It's a spec for agents to essentially sign up for your product and authenticate with it. I think it's great for WorkOS because if you're using AuthKit, which WorkOS has created, it's going to be a natural integration. So you actually won't have to do much for an agent to leverage this. So I think from that perspective, it's great. And then also it was released at MCP night. So in a mic drop, great event situation. So all those things put together, it's a really good launch for them. I'm super stoked to use it, though I don't know how fruitful it'll be for us, but you know, it's good to be part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the Chinese model companies and things that are going on over there.
Some
So
wild stuff.
DeepSeek had this announcement of a 75% off discount. And then they eventually just came out and said, you know what, we're going to make this thing permanent. So you can have DeepSeek V4 Pro for 75% off. They're already incredibly cheap price.
Yep.
And I mean, it is wild how cheap it is.
I think someone was also showing that they spent 1 billion tokens for $9. That is amazing. And DeepSeek V4 is good. So
Yeah, it is definitely a very good model. And there's this, just saying how they did it, there's this open source KV cache size calculator, which this person ran on DeepSeek, and you could just tell, like, that's one of the reasons they can offer it so cheaply, right? They're just great at caching. Qwen 3.7 Max has been announced, or was announced on May 21st. And we can kind of look at some of the benchmark results here. It's very competitive with some of the other models that are out there, especially the open models, or the Chinese models, I guess. So if you look at it compared to DeepSeek, GLM, Kimi 2.6, and then it compares it against Opus 4.6. And it does outperform Opus 4.6 on quite a bit of the benchmarks. So that is pretty interesting.
So starting on May 20th, we've been getting hit up by Alibaba every week now since May 20th. So I'll let you know what they say. We'll hop on a call with them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So this is a post that says something big is coming. Minimax sparse attention, and it's essentially, I am no expert on what sparse attention is, but essentially is a way where it can get more linear rather than more exponential, like latency cost profiling. So you can essentially make things for much cheaper. So tokens should be a lot cheaper and be able to scale much better. So very interesting. The model labs, the model labs are, especially the Chinese model labs, are innovating. They are catching up. It feels like they're, still a bit behind, but it's kind of shocking how good they're starting to get.
And cost effective.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I really do think that there are ways that you probably, for certain workloads, you should be using these models. Like, honestly. Now, how you use them, you don't want to, maybe you don't want to send your data to China. That's a concern. But there are other options like Fireworks and other providers, right, where they have a license to run these models, so you can run them and not have to worry about your data being sent off. But again, pretty wild. Let's talk about Anthropic SpaceX. We mentioned this, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago? I lose track of the deal. So Elon came out and said, as the recently expanded partnership with Anthropic demonstrates, SpaceX is offering AI compute as a service at significant scale. I've heard people say like it's Elon, like EWS, Elon Web Services or whatever. Yep. So, but Elon says they're in discussions with other companies to do the same. So over time, especially with orbital data centers, we expect to serve AI at extremely high scale. Tom Brown says we're expanding our partnership with SpaceX and we'll be scaling up on GB200 capacity in Colossus 2 throughout June. And Anthropic is paying 1.25 billion a month to SpaceX for compute right now. It's wild.
Dude, EWS about to make some money, man.
Yeah.
EWS.
Elon Web Services is in business.
I also saw like a post from space, it was from Elon about SpaceX, but they're creating a SpaceX AI division as well, much like XAI. So, I mean, all this stuff is going to be collapsed into one SpaceX behemoth, you know, and getting 1.25 billion a month from maybe your future competitor here, but you're offering infra. It's pretty smart, man. It's just pretty smart.
What's wild is like, you know, you kind of always bundle all of Elon's properties together, and it feels like it just should be one. But it is wild that, you know, SpaceX and XAI could win even if they don't win the model game.
Yep.
Like maybe they want to level lower, right? Building out the data centers is maybe even more valuable, or arguably, you know, as valuable as actually just having the best models.
Yeah, like I was watching the Starship launch, which didn't happen last Thursday, but looking at the spacecraft, just watching it as a fan or a nerd, I was just like thinking, like, if you could do multiple trips a day to space, then Elon has this advantage on compute in the future, right? When there's orbital data centers, you're the only one going to space. People pay you to go to space, even if someone else wanted data centers in space, right? There's only one way
to get it there. Yeah, there's. I mean, and those starships are huge. You can fit like 300 people in them.
Freaking crazy.
That's like the size of a huge jet of mass that you can get into space. That's wild.
Yeah.
And they're designed, we'll see. We'll see how far away they are, but they're designed to be rapidly reusable, where you can actually reuse it quickly. Not like you land it and then a week later you can relaunch it. No, it's like the same day.
Yeah,
It's supposed to
same
be
day.
able to go back up. No. Will they accomplish it? I think they probably will, actually. It might take a while. But yeah, there's only one way to get mass into space.
Yeah.
At scale. There will be, assuming this all works out for them. So yeah, it's the wild times we live in.
Like the people who are against data centers in space, like, I mean, you probably are rooting for another team. That's what I'm thinking. You're rooting for the people that are not part of this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, I would be curious to know what are people's qualms with data centers in space? Like, what's the negative? People don't want data centers in the United States. That's clear. Like, there's a lot of people that really don't like that. Well, then space feels like, okay, why not put them in space then? It's not in your backyard. So we'll see. Very cool though. Let's talk about coding agent benchmarks. So this is from Serena G. It says, today we're releasing Deep SWE, a new standard for agentic coding benchmarks. On public leaderboards, top models often look relatively close in capability. Deep SWE or Deep SWE, I don't know how you pronounce it or how you want to, but Deep SWE shows where they actually diverge, reflecting the realistic experience of developers in their day-to-day work. So I think it's just built to be a bit more of like a more difficult benchmark. And you can see here that GPT 5.5 and 5.4 are the best two models.
Yeah.
Had an Opus 4.7 and apparently Sonnet 4.6. So there you go. Now, again, this is just one benchmark, but it does show a huge gap between, GPT 5.5 and 5.4 and Opus 4.7 and the rest.
Well, the good thing about this benchmark, as opposed to like Terminal Bench, is it's a little bit more realistic. Terminal Bench is kind of random, let's say.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, as these new models come out, they will, if this benchmark takes off, they will benchmark max it and make it better. And
yeah,
these numbers should go up over time. So Sebastian says, my buddies, Minimax and Haiku got 0%. That's funny.
But like,
Cursor.
oh, sorry, just one last thing on that previous one. Like for like terminal bench in contrast, right? Like the type of things there are kind of software engineering problems, but they're not like practical. And maybe that's fine. But for Deep Sui, like some of the problems are like using actual tools like Ansible or Chef to go and do an actual like goal. And then they like tested all the trajectories for each model to see how well it can go there. And I just thought that was super interesting because it is very realistic. Like we use coding agents to do things with tools that may exist, right? Deploy something, do like that. We're not writing like for loops and like doing some like computer science problems typically, right? So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Saron Almighty says, that's wild to compare GPT 5.4 to Opus 4.7. I have not felt 5.4 being close to Opus. 5.5, on the other hand,
Many such cases.
yes. 5.5 might be the new GOAT. All right, Cursor Bench 3.1 came out, and it says we evaluate agents on ambiguous multi-file tasks from real cursor sessions. Higher scores are better. So you can see that, average cost per task and a graph that also shows the score. Opus 4.7 Max scores a 65%, which is great, but Composer 2.5 scores a, say 63, 64, somewhere in there, but at a fraction of the cost. So it is kind of interesting to see performance on a cost curve, not just a performance curve. I would love to actually see, that on Deep Sui. Like, what did this run cost? That'd be interesting to know, because I also bet that 5.5 is cheaper than 4.7, probably. But it'd be interesting to know that.
It's nice that all these, I mean, at least with Cursor is putting cost into consideration because, it's becoming an axis that people are starting to care about. Especially if subsidies go away, you have to pay for Claude Agent SDK, et cetera, then price becomes part of the equation. You can't just be running Opus for everything in production. You just run out of money, But, Cursor SDK exists. There are other models that exist. So I would figure more people are going to talk about cost, except for Frontier Labs.
Yeah, Frontier Labs aren't going to talk about cost because they want you to spend more. But if you're a real business, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a VC-funded company. Well, you can not care about cost for a while. You have some money in the bank. Put yourself in the shoes of a huge enterprise that has had good margins, right? You probably have some money to invest in what you'd probably consider research at this point.
Yeah.
But at some point, the research has to pay off. The value has to be there, or you're not going to continue to just burn money. And so I do think, I can definitely state that the Mastra users we talk to today care a lot more about cost than the Mastra users we talked to 6 months or 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's now a topic of concern that comes up quite frequently, where before it came up, occasionally people cared about cost, of course, but it felt like we just want to figure out if it can work. Now it's, we do think it can work. We have high conviction it's going to work. How can we make it cost efficient?
Dude, 6 months ago, people were like floating the bill for their customers, right? Like we'll pay the tokens and, we'll like make some type of usage plan or whatever. And now I've heard like 3 people told me that, is there a way you could do cost attribution in Mastra so I can just put all the token costs on the user that's using it? Because this thing's getting expensive,
Yeah, Sebastian has this is, I'm assuming, from the Deep Sui GPT 5.4, $3.3 per trial, 56% score. GPT 5.5 is $5.8 per trial. They're the most cost efficient configurations. So if you go back to this, that's pretty cool. All right, let's talk about Anthropic. And as always, Anthropic ships.
As always.
So this is a segment that's recurring. So Claude launched self-hosted sandboxes, MCP tunnels as a research preview in Claude managed agents. So you can run agents inside your own perimeter with your security controls applied by default. Anthropic shipped So this is what one was interesting because they shipped /workflows in Claude Code and then they pulled it back or something. Is it
Well, it shipped it in the changelog.
they shipped in the changelog, but it wasn't actually in.
It was not in.
Is it in yet? Did they actually release it yet?
No.
So
There's a lot of
I think-
speculation.
yeah, I think it's coming, or maybe not. But it was an omission or an error in the changelog, right? That they announced it and then they pulled it back. So does that mean it's still coming? Does that mean they changed their mind? I don't know, but it was interesting. So what is workflows? So essentially workflows replaces the LLM orchestrator with code. So you can define a workflow file. Code handles the control flow. The model only handles judgment. It's very similar to kind of controlling the flow a bit more and letting the LLM only decide certain parts rather than letting the LLM decide exactly how the flow should happen.
AK, what we have. in
Yeah,
Mastra.
it's a workflow engine, right?
Engine.
Boris says, in the next version of Claude Code, run /usage to see a breakdown of which skills, agents, MCPs, and plugins are using your tokens. So that's good if you're using skills and other things. Again, you want to know usage and then probably how this usage taps into cost, right? So I think that those things are important. Visibility into what your agents are doing is important. And we'll talk about that a bit more too. Claude said we shipped a security guidance plugin for Claude Code that helps identify and fix vulnerabilities as you're writing code. So it's available for all Claude Code users. Install the plugin from the plugin marketplace. So try to prevent security issues. Anything else about Anthropic you want to say?
I just have like this thing that I've been noticing that Claude Devs does most of the announcements now. I think I've said this before, which is interesting. Maybe because people don't want to get roasted. And now Claude Devs does all the announcements. So we should start roasting Claude Devs, guys.
So Google had a good week, maybe a week and a half. Some of this is,
They had a great week, dude.
So I will say, I don't think, we'll talk about Gemini 3.5 a bit, but this came out, May 19th. Gemini 3.5 Flash pricing is a 3x increase over Gemini 3 Flash, which is interesting, right? It's way more expensive for what you'd say is it should be the same line of models, right? You're comparing it to the old Flash. Why is the new Flash 3 times more expensive? And Theo, he's gonna have some opinions. So he said 3.5 Flash is an interesting release. It's super fast and surprisingly smart. It's also more expensive and super token hungry. So it costs 2 times more to run than Gemini 3.1 Pro on similar tasks. It's also more expensive than GPT-5.5 Medium, which is, kind of interesting that it's that much more expensive and probably not necessarily better, although it is very good. Gemini Omni was announced May 19th. This is from Logan Kilpatrick. It says Omni is our new model that can create anything from any input, starting with video. Think Nano Banana, but for video. Available in the Gemini app, Flow, and YouTube with API support coming soon. Available in YouTube is interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't played around with that, but that's kind of interesting. So we'll be getting even more AI videos on YouTube. But it got some hate. So this JS Films says Google promised that Gemini Omni Flash would change the game, but when you put it side by side with CDance 2.0, it's not even a fair fight. Fingers crossed for VO4. And if you look at this, the CDance one is way better. Now, I have questions. Was it one-shotted? All that. But if you do just look at these two videos, it's the CDance one's very impressive. The Omni Flash one is got a lot of physics irregularities, I'll just say. The physics don't hold up.
Yeah, it's like playing a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah, exactly. It looks good, but then there's these weird moments where you're like, that is not believable at all.
Yeah.
And then CDance, there's a few, if you're looking, there's a few things where it kind of defies physics a bit, but it's pretty coherent. You'd have to actually be paying attention to really notice it. So Jack Wotherspoon on May 19th said, "Say hello to Anti-Gravity CLI. Written in Go for a snappy feel. Available with Gemini 3.5 Flash today. Built for async workflows and subagents. Same tools and app server as Anti-Gravity 2.0. Get started and install it today." So is this going to replace the Gemini CLI?
I have a feeling it is, and maybe it already has.
Yeah. And the question is why? Why? I'm
Yeah.
assuming Anti-Gravity CLI is meant to be better. This feels like it's very much the same product line. I've heard rumblings that Gemini CLI is going away.
Yeah. Maybe two teams at Google were working on the same thing, and this is the winner.
Yeah, maybe it's a bake-off.
Yeah.
Anti-Gravity won the bake-off. All right, so Philip says, "I'm excited to introduce managed agents in the Gemini API. One API call gives you full agent with code execution, web browsing, and file management in an isolated sandbox, powered by Gemini 3.5 Flash and Google's anti-gravity harness." More managed agents. We were talking about it earlier. Logan Kilpatrick announced on May 19th, "Today we are starting to roll out the biggest upgrade to Google search box in over 25 years, now completely reimagined with AI, along with Gemini 3.5 Flash as the new default model for AI mode users globally." Seems expensive, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
But we don't have to pay.
Yeah. I mean, I
All
think,
your advertisers have to pay.
yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it's good that they're leaning into using AI. I will, for the longest time, I kind of stopped going to Google and I would use just ChatGPT or Claude. I'd kind of
Yeah.
bounce back and forth. Now, if I do know it's just a question and I don't want to open up the ChatGPT app, I'll still go to Google and it'll just usually answer it. If it's
Yeah, and I actually used this last night with Google search because I was just trying to find a place to eat, and instead of search results, I hit the search with my question, and then it became a Gemini chat right there, and I got search results out of it, but my experience was completely different. It was not me scrolling stuff. It was me asking questions and then it finding the right thing, which were then Google search results that I then, and Google map results, which was exactly what I wanted. Like, where is this place? Boom, got the map link. Super sick.
Yeah, nice.
Super sick.
So Google also released open source distributed agent runtime, agent executor. I don't know much about it, but did you read into this at all?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, just your typical thing.
Yeah, it's like trying to be like an orchestration, right, between like a
Yeah.
router, an agent, and your environment. All right. Andre Zimpel in the chat says, "When are we going to start the AMA section for the show? We should do that someday. Some
Someday.
week we're going to have an AMA. Well, maybe we'll bring on some other folks from Mastra as well. We should do like an AMA Mastra panel or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Composer 2.5. We previewed it a little bit in the benchmarks. This was on May 18th, introducing Composer 2.5, our most powerful model yet. It's more intelligent, better at sustained work on long-running tasks, and more reliable at following complex instructions. For the next week, we're doubling the included usage of the model. And I do wonder if this is part of the Cursor SpaceX deal where maybe Cursor's now using Colossus and doing some training, and they're
Yeah.
getting a lot of gains out of that. Let's talk about the supply chain attacks quickly. This is a segment every week, so we're just going to go through it really fast. Breaking. Socket is investigating an active NPM supply chain attack. This was on May 18th. The malicious publish wave appears tied to Mini Shah Halud
Yep.
in packages connected to the NPM maintainer account A-tool. And then, another on, this is May 24th, breaking active supply chain attack across NPM, PyPy, and crates.io. Socket detected Trapdoor, a crypto stealer campaign hitting 34 malicious packages and 384 versions and artifacts. So this was really targeted more at crypto, DeFi, but some AI stuff
And
as well.
wallet packages, unfortunately. Back to back, man.
And this was on May 21st, so a few days before. The Megalodon campaign is live. 5,718 malicious commits to 5,561 GitHub repository in a 6-hour window. And GitHub on May 19th and said, we're investigating unauthorized access to GitHub's internal repositories. That's not cool.
That's not cool.
And this is related to security, but just an interesting read if you all are curious on Mythos and one more practical guide on like what Mythos was able to do. So Cloudflare had this post on their blog that says Cloudflare's security team spent the last few weeks testing Anthropic's Mythos against 50 of our own repositories. What we learned about offensive AI, why faster patching is the wrong reaction, and what the architecture around vulnerabilities has to look like next.
Dude, it was so cool reading this because I was at a dinner weeks ago where I met someone from Cloudflare who told me about this, and I was like, oh yeah, right. And then I read the thing. I'm like, oh wow, they weren't full of shit at all.
So what was the main takeaways?
For them is okay. So 2 main takeaways from that conversation. One is and I don't want to put any words in his mouth, but like you should assume that you're always being attacked. So once you are assuming that your system is always being attacked every day, it changes how you look at security. So that's one thing. And using adversarial AI to simulate attacks, so you're always being attacked, and you don't necessarily have to tell anyone that you're doing that, keeps your team on their toes. You create new practices, and you create better security overall. And the problem I guess most companies have is you don't think you're being attacked, or you only do when you could discover it. But so much malicious stuff is happening, especially if you're Cloudflare and you power the whole web, let's say. You have to assume bad actors are already doing something that you don't know about, and that's okay.
Yeah.
All the time. So yeah, and then you could read more about this, like they have Mythos for a while, so that's pretty cool.
So Perplexity on May 22nd said, today we're open sourcing Bumblebee, a read-only scanner for macOS and Linux. It checks developer machines for risky packages, extensions, and AI tool configs. Connected to computer, it can trigger deeper scans whenever a new supply chain risk emerges. So a way to maybe be a bit reactionary, but almost like the new antivirus.
Yeah.
NVIDIA shipped on May 21st, NVIDIA verified agent skills. Skills make your agent more capable, but also can introduce vulnerabilities. Verified skills give you transparency into what a skill does, where it came from, what risks it carries, and whether it's been modified. So each verified skill carries a skill card and is built on the agentskills.io open specification to work reliably and across Claude, OpenAI, Codex, Cursor.
We need this in skills.sh. That'd be a really nice addition.
Yeah, we should get that. That would be great if it was there. All right, let's talk about MCP. So this was on May 22nd. The release candidate for MCP 2026, July 28th, is out. The protocol is now stateless, no handshake, no session ID. Any request can hit any server instance, plus extensions as first-class MCP apps, tasks, auth hardening, and a proper deprecation policy. So we don't have to do this again. Because, yeah, they're deprecating some things. But if you want to know what's going on in the spec, go ahead and read this post. It goes into way more details. Let's talk about voice, music, and video. 11 Labs says on May 26th, so yesterday, today we are launching Music V2, which is good because we tested against Suno and it failed.
V1 sucked.
So they probably saw the show and they're like, okay, we got to release V2 now. But it's better vocals, instrumentation, and arrangement across every genre, improved multilingual support, plus capabilities that weren't possible before. We'll put it through the test. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll try it out next week.
Yeah, we'll give it the Suno test and see if it stacks up better this time. Last time it was, okay, but definitely, inferior to what Suno had.
I didn't even think it was okay, so hopefully it's better.
I mean, if you told me 2 years ago that this was possible, I would have been like, dang.
Okay, yeah. True.
But compared to what exists, it's definitely behind. But maybe V2 is better. 11 Labs on May 20th announced they introduced Speech Engine. Developers can now turn their existing chat agent into a full voice agent with one prompt. speech engine combines our leading speech, transcription, and voice orchestration models into a single pipeline, all custom built to work best together.
Sick.
Runway on May 21st says Aleph. Is that how I pronounce that? Aleph?
Aleph. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
All right. I guess Aleph 2.0 is here. Now you can edit a single frame in your video, preview the change, and then Aleph 2.0 carries that edit across the rest of your video. So that's pretty cool because video editing, and I think Runway, like, I don't know, it doesn't seems like a good model, but maybe their models are a little bit behind last time I checked.
Yeah.
But being able to modify a frame mid-frame, regenerate it, reconfigure it, and then have the video continue from there is pretty cool. I think that it's going to allow AI video editing to be much better.
I feel like Runway does like innovative things, but then like the other models like copy them and then have like a more of a fully featured set. But they're always like the first one to do something cool, you know?
Yeah, I mean they were the OGs, right?
Yeah.
They're some of the original video editing, video AI I did was on Runway. All right, let's talk about layoffs, raises, and the industry around the models. On May 18th, Accenture lays off over 11,000 employees in an $865 million AI-driven restructuring. Yeah, more layoffs, more people blaming AI, which
I shouldn't laugh, but it is kind of funny.
Feel bad for the employees, but it is something we're seeing a lot. I think there's the question I always have is how much is it because of AI? I think there's a part of it, but a lot of it is, I think AI is also the scapegoat.
Yeah.
It's now like the easy scapegoat. Everything you can just blame AI. It's like the elephant in the room or like the boogeyman. It's like you just blame the boogeyman.
Yeah, like if you wanted to do layoffs right now, but you didn't have a good reason, just say AI. And then
I do honestly feel that way. And so it's hard to cut through. Is this just messaging or is it really because of AI? And I think there's probably a bit of both, right? There probably is. You hired people for roles that you can now get, maybe you had 50 people and maybe 20 people can do that same job because they have some better tools. But those other 30 people can, doesn't mean that job's not valuable. It's just that you can be more, be more productive than before. Exa raised $250 million in Series C funding at a $2.2 billion valuation led by A16Z. Exa is a search lab organizing the web's data for agents.
They just raised their B not too long ago, so business must be good.
Business is booming. OpenRouter announced on May 26th that they raised $113 million Series B, led by Capital GVC. Over the last 6 months, weekly volume on OpenRouter grew from 5 trillion to 25 trillion tokens in 6 months. So they 5x'd in 6 months as AI rapidly shifts from experimentation into production. That's wild.
That and they have more models that people want to use now.
Yeah.
Love when the homies make money.
Now we're going to rapid fire. So, Abby, stop me if you want to comment, but we'll just fly through these. Browserbase introduced browse.sh, the largest open source catalog of skills to reliably perform any task on the internet. We've researched hundreds of sites to give your agents the playbook they need to navigate the web.
Sick.
This is from Creatify AI on May 18th, introducing Creatify Agent, the world's first multi-agent orchestrator that makes viral ads without AI slop. Drop an ad idea below and we'll build it for you. I was just shocked. There's a lot of these different ad creators. I've seen a lot of really cool demos. 4.4 million views on this, though, is quite a bit. So it is, it obviously captured people's attention, which is, I think it's just very visual, right?
Yeah.
Cerebrus is now running Kimi K 2.6, a trillion parameter model in enterprise trials. At 1,000 tokens per second, this is the fastest frontier model performance ever measured by artificial intelligence. And it's not close.
Also, Cerebrus did IPO, right? On May 14th. So you can actually buy stock here. And
this is not investment advice.
This is not investment advice at all. But you can buy some stock in Cerebrus. They have some stuff in cahoots with other people. So
Linear released new announced new project Slack channels. Linear can now automatically spin up a dedicated Slack channel whenever new Linear project is created. Linear is trying to do a lot of stuff. This is just a point release for them, but I think tying in their Slack channels with agents, I think it's all going to connect. And my speculation is Linear wants to be Linear and Notion are on a collision course.
Yep.
I think Linear's going to be on a collision course with a lot of, everyone wants to own some kind of coding agents. Linear kind of is well equipped because your tasks are there, and there are a lot of times those are coding tasks, but it'll be interesting. I think Slack's also the surface area that people are using for a lot of this stuff. We're going to talk about PRs and PR reviews for a bit. So there's this diffs hub. Take any public diff from GitHub and virtualize it nearly instantly, no matter how large. So you can basically, it's a way to review code. Another way to review code is to use the cursor skill thermonuclear code quality review, which is, a skill you can go take a look at it. It apparently deletes complexity instead of moving it, blocks files over 1,000 lines, flags thin wrappers and leaked logic, rejects PRs that work but make code messier. So
yeah, I would just use Mastra Code's critique PR skill instead.
Yeah, it's about the same thing. But, I think the concept of having a self PR review skill that you run before you ask CodeRabbit or another agent to run it, or before you send it over to a teammate is, doing it locally is a good idea. A lot of people are trying to solve the code review problem, or, the AI generated code is becoming, it's easier to ship. More PRs are getting stuck in review because you have more complex PRs. It's hard to read the code you don't fully understand. So Stage is a code review platform designed to help engineers understand AI-generated code. Your team is drowning in an endless backlog of PRs. Stage Review app turns code review into a guided process and enables you to review changes faster than using GitHub. This is a problem. I liked CodeRabbit's solution, Atlas. That's a cool way to tackle it. Haven't tried out Stage, but I'm interested. I think this is a problem that needs to be solved. You still need human review. Now we're on the path of how do we optimize to make human review easier, easier to digest the code. Zed announced on May 20th, terminal threads are live in Zed. You can now run Claude, AMP, Pi, or any terminal-based workflow as a managed thread in the threads sidebar. Looks kind of like Superset.
Superset-esque.
Yeah, very similar. So this was on May 19th. New from Datadog, it's Lapdog. Ever wondered what your AI agent was actually doing? Our latest free project runs locally and traces reasoning and tool calls in Codex, Claude Code, and Pi. You can now see what your agent is really doing live.
Cool.
I think that I would be curious if you're listening to this. Do you care if your agent, do you want to see more observability into what Claude Code or Codex or whatever coding agent you use is actually doing? I don't know. I don't know. I think some people want to maybe know, but I also think that maybe not a lot of people care. So
I think if you're running it for a third party person, you do. But if you're running it for yourself, you probably don't.
Yeah, you just care about is it in my max plan or not?
Yeah.
If it's covered by my max plan, I don't care what it costs, just do the job. But yeah, if you're running it at scale for, as part of a process, right? Then yeah, you want to see. But you probably want a more robust visualization than a local tool. So on May 26th, this is from Kushal Bhatnal. Over 1 billion PDFs are created every day, but your agents still can't read them reliably. So they released Parse 2.0, the most accurate document parsing API in the world. It's always interesting. A lot of data is in PDFs and documents. And so I think anytime there's new improvements in just document parsing, it's cool to talk about. So if you're trying to parse PDFs, if you're having trouble, maybe this will help. Yeah. It is apparently state-of-the-art quality on Real Doc Bench, but it's their open source benchmark, which, of course they're going to be leading on their benchmark. So, take it into consideration, but it's pretty cool. OpenAI said on May 20th, today we share a breakthrough on a planar unit distance problem, a famous open question first proposed by Paul Erdos in 1946. For nearly 80 years, mathematicians believed the best possible solution looked roughly like square grids. An OpenAI model has now disproved that belief, discovering an entirely new family of constructions that performs better. This marks the first time AI has autonomously solved a prominent open problem central to the field of mathematics. I feel like that's not the first time, though. Isn't there like other math problems that, and maybe it's not as, maybe it's because it's prominent and it's an open problem. I don't know.
We had to learn this in school. It's kind of like it's just like it was like a thought-provoking mathematical question. Because you want, I don't know, I can go into it, but like on a Euclidean plane, you want to make sure that two pairs only have a distance of 1. And, I guess OpenAI solved it.
There you go. So this is from Shenxi Ding on May 26th, introducing Merge Gateway. Build your own router. You're 3 sprints into your coding assistant. You pick the most hyped model, integrate, test, deploy. A month later, a new model drops. Now you retest, reintegrate, redeploy. Your product didn't change, but the benchmark did. That's how most AI teams operate. So it's eventually allows you to build your own model with the Merge API. It's like an open router, right?
I mean, we have a dark history with Merge. So, I mean, I personally do. I don't like their product because they charge an arm and a leg for something that should be free. And once again, you want to pay a lot of money for something that you can go to Open Router for? That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, Open Router is not free either, but I don't know what the difference is in costs.
Yeah.
But it's another AI gateway. So this was pretty cool. Excited, this was on May 26th. Excited to release Polar, our agent RL rollout infra for real-world harnesses, be it Codex, Claude Code, OpenClaw, Hermes, or your self-made one. Polar takes your harnesses directly as training environments without code change. So you basically can use your harness as a training environment to RL.
Sick.
Cognition introduced on May 18th. Devon Auto Triage, your AI first responder with long-term memory. It can monitor incoming bugs, alerts, and incidents, investigate them, and come back with context, next steps, or a PR. I think that, again, you're going to see more autonomous acting agents. This is a step in that direction. It can act based on other triggers, not just you asking it to act. I think we'll see more things like this, not just from cognition, but everyone is going to be doing this, including us. And that's it. That's the show. Thanks for watching Agents Hour. As always, if you haven't already, go give us a star on GitHub. We appreciate that. Mastra-AI/Mastra. Do the whole thing. Like, subscribe, follow at Mastra on X, follow at SMThomas3, which is me on X, or at Abi Iyer on X. Say what's up, say hello. We'll hang out and chat with you there. Any final words before we close off what I thought was going to be a short show, and it, of course, went a little long.
Always does. Farewell, Cowboys.
All right. See you, partner.
Yo, that show's a wrap. We were live in the zone. AI Agents Hour, Shane and Abby on the throne. Did you give us that review? Only if it's a 5. Jump on the tube, make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, news so fresh, yeah, we keep you in the loop. Guests so fly, they bring the whole troop. AI on the rise, don't miss this power. Welcome to the show, it's AI Agents Hour. Did you just drop in? Is this your first time? Make sure to follow us on X and go like and subscribe. Yeah, learn the principles and patterns in our books. The Mastra.ai site, give it a look. Yeah, news so fresh, yeah, we keep you in the loop. Guests so fly, they bring the whole troop. AI on the rise, don't miss this power. Welcome to the show, it's AI Agents Hour. This is the end, we all wrapped up. Another showdown, another one coming up. AI Agents Hour's done, but the news doesn't cease. Shane and Abby, we out of here. Peace.